The world is white fury. For this lone hunter, a Homo sapiens separated from his kin, the landscape has ceased to exist, replaced by a howling, vertical blizzard that scours the skin and steals the breath. Every landmark is gone, every track erased a moment after it is made. Survival, once a matter of skill and knowledge, has been reduced to a single, desperate instinct. Find shelter or be buried by the sky. His body is a dwindling furnace, the cold a predator boring into his bones. This is the brutal reality of prehistoric life, where a change in the weather is as deadly as a cave lion's charge. Through a momentary thinning of the snow, he swings up, not a feature, but an absence, a dark slash in a wall of rock. A cave mouth, relief, sharp and painful, pierces through his exhaustion. He stumbles towards it, his snow-caked furs heavy as stone. The entrance is strangely clean, swept bare not by the wind, which eddies typically around it, but by something else. There is no scent of bear or wolf, no scatter of old bones. The air that breathes from the darkness within is cold, still, and uneventful neutral. Inside, the silence is a physical blow. The roar of the storm is muffled to a distant, ghostly moan. He fumbles with his flint and pyrite, his numb fingers clumsy. A spark catches, and the oily head of his resin-soaked torch blooms into life, pushing back the immense darkness. The light reveals a space far larger than he expected, a deep, vaulted cavern, but it is the details that freeze him in place more effectively than the cold outside. A great, cold hearth sits in the center, its stones arranged in a perfect, concentric circle. Along one wall, stone tools are laid out in rows, sorted by size and function. They are massive, heavy, fashioned with a brutal elegance that is utterly alien to his own people's craft. These are the work of the others. The big-boned, silent folk his clan sometimes glimpses in the high mountain passes. The Denisovan. Here's a trespass. This is not a hunter's temporary camp, littered with the debris of a recent meal. This is a place of order, of thought. The sheer deliberateness of the arrangement speaks of a mind that is not merely surviving, but organizing, contemplating. This is the challenge of cognitive archaeology in its most immediate form. To read the mind of an unknown species from the ghost of their presence. He feels a primal fear far deeper than his fear of the storm. It is the fear of a lesser intelligence stumbling into the home of a greater one. He huddles near the entrance, building a small, pathetic fire of his own, unwilling to touch their sacred-seeming hearth. He is an intruder in a silent church, and he does not know the gods who are worshipped here. As his torch sputters, casting dancing shadows, his eyes are drawn to the vast, smooth wall at the back of the cave. The light catches on something that is not rock. A pattern. A series of impossibly straight lines and meticulously placed dots of white and yellow pigment. It is not the familiar, vibrant shape of a bison or a deer. It is something else entirely. Something cold, precise, and utterly, terrifyingly abstract. The storm shows no sign of ending. Days and nights blur into a single, great twilight punctuated by the howl of the wind. For the trapped hunter, the cave has become his entire universe. A small bubble of warmth and flickering light against a world of chaos. Hunger is a dull, constant ache, but a different kind of hunger has taken hold of him. A consuming need to understand. He spends his waking hours before the great painted wall, his torch held aloft, tracing patterns in the air with a soot-stained finger. This is a crucial moment in the long, branching story of human ancestors, an undocumented meeting of two distinct cognitive worlds. His people paint what they know, the thundering herds, the successful hunt, the shape of a hand pressed against rock. Their art is a celebration of life, of blood, of the solid world. This is something else. He recognizes a small, tight cluster of 7 white dots. A pattern he has seen in the clear skies of summer. Nearby, another familiar shape. 3 bright dots in a straight line. His mind, trained to see patterns in animal tracks and broken twigs, begins to work on this new puzzle. The lines connecting the dots are not random. They form shapes, great angular beasts and long, flowing rivers made of stars. He has looked at the night sky his entire life, but he has never truly seen it. He has seen individual light. These beings see a map. It is the very dawn of Archaeology, not as a science, but as a terrifying, humbling revelation. Then he sees the other sequence. It is a long, horizontal band painted near the floor. It begins with a thin, yellow crescent. Next to it, a wider crescent. Then a half circle, a swirling shape. And finally, a perfect, glowing circle. The sequence then reverses, shrinking back to a sliver before disappearing into a patch of black pigment. The pattern repeats, again and again, across the length of the wall. He touches the cool, dry paint of the full circle. He knows this rhythm. He has counted the sleeps between the full eye of the night spirit to know when the salmon will run thickest or when the great stags will begin their rut. His knowledge is an internal crop, a feeling in his gut passed down through generations. But this is knowledge made permanent. It is time itself, captured and held fast on a rock wall, a lunar calendar. It speaks of a mind that does not just live within the cycles of nature, but observes them, records them, and predicts them. This is not just foresight. It is a form of power he cannot comprehend. To truly understand this moment, you must become more than a listener. You must become a witness, tracing these same lines of thought with us. The implications of this discovery settle upon him, heavier than the mountain above. These Denisovan are not just other hunters. They are sky carvers, timekeepers. The art of his own people suddenly feels like the drawings of children. He feels a profound intellectual vertigo, the dizzying sensation of a creature realizing it is not at the top of the food chain. His species' intelligence, their greatest survival tool, may not be the sharpest one in this world of ancient humans. The storm outside is a thing of wind and ice. The storm inside his mind is one of shattering, world-altering humility. The owners of this place will eventually return. And what will they think of the small, simple animal they find huddled in the doorway of their star chapel? The wind's voice changes. Its high, frantic shriek softens into a low, mournful moan, and for the first time in days, a sliver of pale, watery light penetrates the cave's entrance. The storm is breaking. For the hunter, this is a double-edged revelation. The world is reopening, but the cave's masters will surely return to it. He feels a fresh spike of adrenaline, a primal urge to flee, but he is held in place by a profound, magnetic awe. He looks one last time at the star map, trying to burn its impossible geometry into his memory. He is a child who has stumbled into a council of elders, and he knows, with a certainty that chills him more than the ice, that he has seen something sacred. He does not have to wait long. Two figures block the new light at the entrance. They are immense, their frames broader and heavier than any man he has ever seen. Their faces are wide, their brow ridges prominent, but their eyes hold no malice. They simply watch him, their gaze calm, ancient, and deeply intelligent. This is the moment of truth in this unprecedented in-species interaction. He braces for the violent explosion he would expect from his own kind if they found a stranger in their home. He expects a roar, the hefting of a club. It never comes. One of the Denisovans, the large male, looks at the hunter, then at the pathetic remnants of his small fire. It's almost nearly dead. He looks at the gnawed clean bone from a snow hare, the hunter's only meal in days. Then his gaze travels to the great wall, and back to the hunter. There is no anger in his eyes, only a quiet, unnerving assessment. It is a moment of profound communication without sound or gesture. A direct meeting of two consciousness. The Denisovan seems to understand everything. The storm, the desperation, the trespass born of need. The second Denisovan, a female, steps forward. She places a slab of dried mammoth meat on a clean, flat stone, midway between them and the hunter. It is not a challenge, nor a trap. It is an offering, an act of grace so stunningly simple it shatters the last of the hunter's fear, replacing it with something far more powerful: humility. These beings, whose minds chart the cosmos, see not an enemy, but another struggling creature. Their intelligence is so vast it encompasses a form of compassion whose own people, locked in their brutal tribal struggles, have yet to fully grasp. This is the apex of abstract thought, the ability to see oneself in another, even a completely different other. The hunter accepts the gift, he, and as he does, he makes a hard choice. He could stay, he could try to learn, but he understands now that this knowledge is not a tool to be taken. Like a new way of knapping flint, it is the soul of a people. It is inextricably part of their minds, their being. To steal it would be meaningless. He gathers his spear and his now useless fire-starting kit. He stands, looks at the two silent giants, and gives a slight, slow nod of his head, a gesture of thanks, of respect, of farewell. They watch him leave, their silence not an absence of language, but a language in itself. He steps out of the cave of stars and back into the familiar world of snow and stone. The world is the same, he is not. The hunter returns to his clan with the taste of mammoth meat in his mouth and the map of the heavens in his mind. But he speaks of neither. How could he describe a language made of stars to a people who only speak of the earth? The memory becomes his own silent sanctuary, a private and humbling truth that separates him from his kin forever. This encounter, lost to the grand narrative of anthropology, serves as a powerful allegory for what might have been. It suggests that the river of human consciousness was not a single, mighty torrent, but a braided delta of many streams, each with its own unique current, its own depth. We, the survivors, arrogantly assume our stream was the deepest, the most powerful, but perhaps other currents ran with a clarity and profundity we can no longer imagine. The story of our own species is one of triumph, but we must never forget the silent ghosts of other intelligences that walk this world with us, whose thoughts may not have been lesser, only different, and whose cosmic maps are now lost to the ice, forever. The deepest truths are not carved in stone, but carried in the silence of a single, humbled heart. But what if the maps weren't of the sky above, but of a world within?